Hey everyone, it's Mike with the Rusty Garage and Homestead. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do a few little updates and check the fences because I got woke up at 4:30 this morning because of a tornado warning that was in our area. So when that went off, turned the news on, looked at the weather, seen that the rotationist area was about 5-6 miles away from me, so watched it pass and then I went back to bed. But while I was up this morning, the storm was moving west to east and the wind was out of the east really hard, blowing right into that storm till the storm got there, and then it switched directions and started coming out of the west. But the wind was blowing extremely hard. So today we're going to go around, check the fences, make sure we don't have any trees on any of the fences that's got them down so the cows can get out. So about 3 days ago, I was down in the neck of the pond with Tiny, digging out some silt and stuff like that. And if you remember at the end of that video, I updated the next morning because we'd gotten some rain that night to show what it looked like. Well, I want to give another update what it looks like now. This is 3 days after we dug down in the pond with Tiny. So you can see there's our dirt pile that we dug out. We were right down here with Tiny. The pond is full. The intake pond over here is also full. Now this intake pond is full enough that it's going through the horn still. Got all these leaves built up over here, and you can see we got water coming right into the pond. Let's go check the spillway, see if we got any water going over it. It's crazy, we have went several months without any rain, and we were in a drought, we were in burn bans. It was a little rough, and now it seems like we've got more water than we know what to do with. It would have been nice if the water or rain would have been spread out over about a week, but the rain we've been getting has just been basically big gully washers. You can see the rock over there. On that side of the pond, you can see the water's right up to the bottom of it. It's still about 8 inches down from where normal level is in this pond. If I can find a clip from earlier in the year when we were doing some work down here, I'll throw it up here just so you can see what it looked like then. But we are at the spillway. It is all the way up. This little area right down here, that's a few feet deep of water, and it's going down the creek like it should be. Right back over there is where all them stumps and that gully is that we shoved all the stumps in. Let's go take a look and see how all this is doing. That's where the water's coming through. The leaves have almost dammed everything up, but there's water coming through down there. I can hear it. I still got to get all of this built up, probably 2 more feet all through here. I want to build the spillway up probably another foot. But we don't have any water coming into our trench. Still got all these stumps in here. All that looks good. I'm happy with it. You can see all that sand, water pushing down through here. I do have, I don't know if you can see them right up here. Those are little like metal frames that are filled with concrete. They're about 2 inches thick and about 8 inches wide, 3 foot long or so. I think I'm gonna take all those. There's 2 stacks of them. I think next time the water's down, I'm gonna stack them out through here and just try to get that built up some. And then I've got the old concrete pad for where our old squeeze chute used to sit on. That is out in the pasture. I need to get it brought down here too, because that could make a nice little bridge, if you will, for the side-by-side to drive across and help build the spillway up. This is a wonderful site right before wintertime. Pond's full. We'll check out the new pond too while we go and check the fences, because that pond was pretty low as well. It's looking good. I like seeing this pond full. I'm really going to like it once we get it built up another 8 inches or so. Out here it's a lot flatter. That water line's going to be clear out to here. Once that comes up over there about 8 more inches, it'll be right in about here. So the pond's been low for long enough that all these birch trees and stuff have been growing up, just like this one. Trees don't grow out of the water, not in our area anyways. So all those birches right there are right up against the water line. All those will be underwater once we get this pond raised up like it should be. But the way this looks, it's going to be next year before that's even a thing where we're going to be able to get down in here. And the dirt pile, it's still tall. This is all that stuff that came out of the pond, out of that hole we dug. So right out here, we've got an area that's probably going to be, I dug it down 3 foot from where it was. I bet you that one little spot's 5.5, maybe even 6 foot tall or 6 foot deep right out through there. And if you guys remember, I didn't get anything dug out over here. So that's probably going to be a couple foot deep, but hopefully maybe this winter we'll work on it some. I've still got this oak tree to pull out. You guys seen I got that birch and that other oak tree dug out. That took a little bit. This one, hopefully it's not as bad. I'm still looking for some sort of ripper that'll fit on that BH-150 that'll make taking trees out a whole lot easier. Because I've dug this slope right through here just to take that step out of the pond, and I want to continue this further that way, and I want to bring it probably another 6 foot this way just to widen all this out. So a lot of these trees are going to end up coming out of here, and once this gets widened out and the pond comes down, I want to dig all this a lot deeper. The end goal would be for this little neck of the pond to end up being about 8 foot deep and having several brush piles out in there. The new pond, I put several cedar trees in for the crappie. That's the only fish. Crappie and perch are the only fish that we've stocked in the new pond. This pond, we put catfish and bass and crappie and perch and a little bit of everything in this pond. So having a nice big brush pile right out here in a deep spot, that should make the fishing a whole lot better. But I just want to give you all an update on this. It's just, it's surprising that night that after I got through digging that evening when we got that rain and it filled up the spot that I had dug, and then 3 days later the pond's completely full enough it's going over the spillway. That's a lot of rain in just a few days. But let's go check the fences to make sure we don't have any trees down so we don't have to worry about any cows getting out. Looks like we got one, possibly a new one over here on the west fence. Okay, that one is not new. That one's been there. But this right over here, top of that tree broke out, that is new. That one, and then there's another one right down there that blew over. That was here recent. That right there is a new one. But luckily just a few branches are up on the fence, and this fence is full of briars. The entire thing's so thick of briars, I don't think anything could get through there if they wanted to, cow-wise. So I'm not too worried about that one. Cows are happy. Dad gave them some hay this morning. Hi, Emma. Getting your belly full? She's getting her belly full. Well, I already see a new one that blew over. There's one I had marked that I planned on cutting down anyways because it looked like it had died a lot sooner than it should have. There it is. See how that looks. It's a hickory tree. It looks like it's still probably gonna have some decent wood in it, but we're gonna have to get that thing cut up pretty soon. That is a fresh break from last night, or this morning early whenever that wind was blowing so hard. Good thing about it, there's a brush pile right down here, and the top of it blew right off into that brush pile, so that's okay. I can come right up in here, cut all them little limbs off right through there, get tiny with pallet forks, pick that trunk up and carry it over to the wood yard. That can end up going in our hickory bunk. With the rest of that stuff, we gotta get split up here pretty soon. So this morning, my buddy Joe from the Okie Woodsman put out a video, and he was going around marking a bunch of trees because he did a bunch of dead pines and different things like that from either disease or drought or anything, you know, stuff like that. Some of it was self-inflicted, which that happens. Most of these trees you see out behind me are all dead standing oak trees. When we came through here with the dozer years ago, cleaning all this stuff out, we left several of the large oaks because we wanted to keep them. Disturbing the ground and the root system, everything, pretty much killed all the ones we got out here. So there's a lot of dead standing trees that we're gonna have to get cut down. And this is a big old hickory right next to the new pond, and part of it actually broke out. This wasn't this morning, this was a few days ago when that windstorm come through. You can see right down there, big old limb laying off into the water. But most all of those oaks back over in there are dead, and we got to get cut down. There's still some good ones out through here. We'll try to keep everything we can. Like Joe said in that video this morning, he is selectively picking trees to harvest. We're gonna be doing the same thing. It's mostly gonna be a lot of the dead standing oaks that we got around here. I don't have any of the pines that he does. Pretty much everything here is hardwood, but we've got a lot of cutting to do. Okay, looks like the wind blew hard enough it pooched the side in on this blind. One of the windows was down. Got a bunch of water in it. So let's make sure we get these windows up and closed like they should be. There are a few nice bucks that we've got on camera running around here, so really hoping John's able to harvest one of those this year. One of our persimmon trees is loaded up with persimmons. They are ripe now. They're starting to fall all over the ground. See right through here, all those little orange dilly whackers. The deer love those things. So if you ever wondered what a blackjack oak looks like after decades of not being trimmed up or anything like that, that is a blackjack oak. You can see it's got branches all over this thing. Blackjack's a rough tree to cut just because they're normally a little bit of a pain with all that. All those are branches. Anyways, if you're curious, that is what a blackjack oak looks like that has never been kept up with. It does have a new little branch that broke off of it, laying right there. Blackjack's a rough tree to mess with. It's hard, knotty, got a lot of knots in it. And you see the branches that were on that thing. That's pretty normal for a blackjack. They're hard on chains, it's pretty hard stuff, and they are very rough to split. I've got a fairly large blackjack. It's not in the wood yard, but it's laying pretty close to it. I need to move it to the wood yard here pretty soon. But that tree is, that one's gonna be rough to split. You guys will see. Okay, that's my normal trail that I go down. Little branch, nothing major. This is an old one. Right there. That thing is still extremely hard. See those gouge marks in it? That's from the dozer blade pushing on it. I just went up there and tapped on it because I honestly thought that thing would come right over, and it did not. That thing was very hard. You guys can see the fence is right there. This thing is leaning towards the fence. We're gonna have to get that thing cut down this year so it don't wind up taking the fence out. Try to stay out of everything that we dissed. This is back here by the food plots, and everything that I dissed up is a little soft. So if you guys remember, I had to make more swipes through here than I wanted to, but I'm not seeing the domain or the lights out, any of that stuff coming up, but we've got a lot of leaves. All this is that food plot from here clear over into there. All that's that food plot that we planted. The lights out's over there, the domain's over here, but we've got leaves like crazy. I may have to go get my backpack blower once this stuff dries out and try to blow some of this out. I don't know if this stuff's gonna germinate and come up with all these leaves in here. Hopefully it does. Or maybe I'll just blow some strips of leaves out of here so some of it'll come up for sure, hopefully, and leave some of it under leaves and just see how it reacts with the leaves over it, because that would be a real world test on people doing food plots out in their timber and stuff like that. Well, fall comes around every year. That's when hunting season is. So if leaves come down on it, is that stuff still going to grow for you, or is it not? So that may be a good test that we do just to see what happens with it. Okay, that oak tree right there, that is right by our hunting blind. One of them, you can see the hunting blind back in there. This one blew over this spring, and I just have not got down here to even mess with it yet. But this is going to be one of the first ones we start cutting up on here pretty soon. Now as I'm driving, there's a big ravine right back over here. I'll stop here in a second. Okay, now while I was driving, I know I didn't have the camera looking back way, but I'm looking back off in here. Our north border, our north fence, you guys probably ain't gonna be able to see it, but it's right through there. I don't know if you can see a T-post right over there or not, but it goes right through here, and we'll see if you guys can tell how steep this is. Sorry, I'm still figuring out this gimbal for this new camera. That there, that's basically vertical, and that's several feet down. Okay, here's a stick. It's a little ways down there. This is steep. Right over here, that's my neighbor's property. Over here, you can see his ladder stand, or one of his ladder stands. Right over there. But this is also very steep. I've got the camera almost looking straight down. Okay, I just noticed another branch that fell out. This old, I believe it's a white oak. It is dead and needs to come down. But it looks like there's a branch right up there, hollow. That blew out. So here's that branch. That thing's probably, that's a pretty good sized branch coming out of that tree. It just kind of shows you how big this oak is. I believe this is a white oak, and I don't know, that's probably 28 inches across there. Pretty good size. And this one, this is a blackjack. It's got a nice little curve to it. Of going right over our trail right through here. So we'll probably end up cutting down that one sometime as well. But this white oak is definitely dropping some limbs. That's new. But the bad thing about this white oak is it is leaning towards my neighbor's, sure you can see it now, his ladder stand right there. It's leaning that way. So I'm standing straight north of it. It's not awful, but it is leaning that way. It's got a nice little small curve to it. Our fence is right here, right next to it, right up there. That's where I cut that tree up that had fallen over on the fence last fall. But we need to get this one down for sure before spring, so we don't come back here and it be on the fence and all our cows are running rampant like a bunch of rabid dogs. So earlier I was pointing across the new pond, all these big oak trees, every one of them's dead. One of them up there actually blew over, right there. That was a big hollow one. And the only one out here in this pasture that was alive on this side was that one. And the top blew out of it. Still got to get that one cut down. Just not looking forward to it. Those are a little dangerous to cut down when they're like that. I'll get it though. The new pond is also full because it is coming over the spillway. Okay, well, that's good to know. Glad to see all this stuff being full. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's thunder. See that big branch right over there? That's the one that fell out of the tree right up there. Now we've got sticks here, sticks there, and back over there. All these ones just floated over here on this side. So we've got some cleanup to do in this pond. That ain't the kind of brush piles I want to put in here. I'd rather just use some cedar trees and stuff like that. I was coming down here to show you some wheat because I know there's some wheat that has popped up because it was wicking moisture from the pond up into the soil. A bunch of it's underwater now. A lot of that green stuff you see there, all out through here, that is all wheat that we planted. Because if you remember, when I disced this pond was several feet down. So I run that disc quite a ways down through here and I already had wheat popping up under here. But now it's all underwater. But it's starting to come up there. Hopefully here soon we'll get some of this to start germinating. This whole field really looks good when it's covered in green grass. There's another view of that branch that blew off into the pond, broke off. That one's dead. We got to get it cut down. It is just crazy the amount of dead standing trees that we have on this property. And it's not just our property. If you guys watch Joe's video, I don't know when this video is coming out. It's probably going to be a week or two. But today's the day Joe's video published where he was going and selectively marking trees that were dead standing that he's going to be taking down. That was today when he published that video. So this may be a week or two after. But there's a lot of properties around the northeast Oklahoma part of the state that there's a lot of dead standing trees. I don't know if there's diseases or bugs or what the deal is. I know most of ours is self-inflicted. All of this, I've showed you before, it kind of used to look like this timber back behind me, just super, super thick, and we had to open it up for pasture for cows. So a lot of ours is self-inflicted from heavy equipment, but there's still some trees in some areas that we haven't messed with any equipment that are dead. What's the matter, cows? You guys got a full bale of hay? Should be happy. Everything's still, it's up a little ways. We've been full cloud cover for a few days now. You see all that? We still got storms moving in today. I don't know if you've heard or not in the video, but we've had quite a bit of thunder while I've been out here. Some of them hiding off in the timber back over there. That one's dead standing. That one's dead standing. Still got some cleanup here to do. I've got part of it picked up, but that tree, Joe from the Okie Woodsman that he cut down, and that stump that I dug out, that first big stump with Tiny, that was right over in here. And you guys can see the wood yards down there. See my IBC totes? Right over here, that's that other blackjack that I told you we've got to get cut up here sometime. That's gonna be a little rough, but it's okay. I wanted to mill that tree. That was one of the trees I cut up whenever after I got through building that 660 clone. But that thing sat out here long enough. I don't want to mess with it. We're just gonna cut it up for firewood. We'll drag it down there to the wood yard down there by them totes, and we'll get it cut up and split up. It is gonna be time to burn brush piles here pretty soon too. That's gonna be nice. I am happy to see this. We did get a good bit of rain. See all them leaves there kicked up? Came down through that little trench. The grass is laid over. That water just run right down into the pond there. All right, again, extremely happy that we've gotten the rain that we have. It's gonna help the wheat. Pond's finally full, the new pond's full, the intake pond's full. So yeah, I did want to do a lot more digging in that this year, but with work schedule and by the time this thing dried out enough that I could actually get Tiny down in there to do anything, my windows are very narrow. But with the high winds that we got and the tornado warnings and the extreme amount of rain in a short window, this is just something that I do pretty regular. If we get high winds or anything like that, I always go and check the fences just to make sure there's no trees on it, because that's happened in the past where a tree has knocked the fence down and we didn't catch it and cows wind up on the neighbor's property. And sometimes they're a little bit of a pain to get back on our property, so try to stay ahead of it. That north end, there's no cows on it right now because we've got it planted. So if a tree did go down on it, I have a little bit of time before I turn the cows in on it, so that helps. You guys hear that thunder? Got another very large cell approaching us very quickly. But I wanted to get this checked for now. This cell is just supposed to be a lot more rain. Again, it's not supposed to really be any rain, not like we got the past few days or this morning. But I just want to take y'all along with me, kind of show you what I do on a regular basis when we do get... I check the fences regularly anyways, but I especially check them after we've gotten a big rain or tornadoes or anything like that that's come through the area, because those things are rough on trees and that's rough on fences. I think I might ought to go inside before before it starts coming down. All right, everyone, I just want to jump in here real quick. It's actually been a few days since we did the pond update and checking the fence video, but I wanted to give you an update on the wheat and the deer plots that we planted in the back, just to kind of see how they're doing since we have gotten all this rain. You guys also might hear some thunder in the background. We have a thunderstorm again approaching, so some more rain is going to be coming, but I wanted to show you this and give you a quick update on it. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see all of that wheat. That wheat's coming up like crazy all out through here. There's some of that thunder, but this stuff's coming in good. It's probably 2 to 3 inches tall all through here. It's coming in nice and thick. Let me go show you a couple other spots. I'm gonna try to make this quick so we don't get wet here. The weather is actually cooling off quite a bit too. This morning it was in the low 50s, so I've got no complaints there. You can see back here in the timber, there's one of our blinds. This is where we were actually filling the spreader. I did disc through all this and threw some seed in, but right in here it's extremely heavy. See all that? That's gonna come in nice and thick. Okay, let's check out another spot. Okay, I came to the other hillside. We just came from over there, up on that hill ridge. We're over here by this brush pile. You can see, probably see that green hue on everything. Everything's coming up nice right now in through here. No, the camera's hard to pick it up, but it is growing all through here. There's some different spots where the seed got a little heavy. You know, on those broadcaster spreaders, whenever you hit a bump or something like that, you're liable to slough out some seed. That's probably what happened here while it's so thick right there. That's just the nature of a broadcaster though. Okay, I want to run over to the timber where we planted the wheat in it. That area and the food plot areas both have a ton of leaves in them, so hopefully that doesn't mess up the germination or the growth of some of that stuff. So let's run off in the timber and see how that wheat looks over there. Then we'll run down to the food plots. Okay, here's one of the spots up in the timber that we planted, and it looks like the leaves aren't really bothering it a whole lot. We've got wheat coming up all in here. We've got all sorts of stuff down here sprouting amongst the leaves. So all of this, that's part of that wheat field. We're just over there on the other side of that brush pile. But all this should come in pretty decent. I was really wanting to get a lot of this timber cleared out, some of the underbrush and smaller stuff cleared out in this area, because I wanted to plant all of this all the way to the fence, which is a couple hundred yards that way. And I just wanted to kind of do some more wheat, more of a test, if you will, because the food plots that we planted on the north end that I've always planted wheat before, that always did extremely well. I wanted to see if it would do it up here on this hilltop side as well as it did in the bottoms over there. Okay, so this one's doing pretty good. Let's head over to the food plots and see what we got. Okay, so I'm over here where we have the lights out planted, and it's looking a little thin. There's some coming up. See if I can find a thicker spot. So this, if I remember right, I'd have to look at the video, but I think this had oats and turnips. Is that right? I think I had oats and turnips in it. Anyways, let's have a look. So this stuff is coming up. It's not as tall as that stuff out in the field, and it's going to be hard to see because there is leaves covering everything. But we do have some growth, which is good to see. I am happy to see that. Hopefully it starts taking off and growing a whole lot more. But it's coming up. It's coming up in these leaves. I guess the leaves don't really seem to be bothering it a whole lot. It's popping up. It's kind of hard to see for me in the leaves as well. But I'm in a bunch of leaves right now, and hopefully you can see some of that stuff popping up all through there. So that's good. The light's out anyways. The leaves really don't seem to be bothering it a whole lot. So let's go look at the domain and see what it's doing. And it's starting to sprinkle. So let's make it quick. Okay, there's a deer blind. The domain is planted pretty much all the way up to about these trees right here. So this is all domain. You can see it is coming up also in the leaves. The leaves really don't seem to be slowing it down. So that is good. I am very happy to see that. I was beginning to think I was going to have to get my backpack blower and try to move an acre's worth of leaves out of the way. But it's doing pretty good. It's coming up. There's some more all through here. I know it's hard to see, but I can see it with my eyes that it is coming up through these leaves. Okay, well, that is good news. It is coming up. We'll continue to monitor it and see how well it does, if the lights out does better than the domain or vice versa. And we'll try to keep updated on see what the deer are hanging out in more, if they even care. They may be equally in both of them. Okay, well, I just wanted to jump in here and kind of throw, since this was an update video to begin with, I wanted to come through and just kind of update some of this since we have gotten the rain to see how well it's doing. The pond is still full. Ponds, both of them, are full and running over the spillway, so that makes me happy. Glad to see that those were full. Glad to see us get rain on our wheat and our food plots because this stuff needed it. Anyways, everyone, if you enjoyed the video, give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already. If you are, thank you, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.